Hi everyone, Jess here, and today I'm joined with Khaled Tash, Group CMO of SAUDIA Airlines. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mr. Tash.
Hello, my pleasure.
So, come October at World Aviation Festival, you're going to be giving a presentation on how airlines can harness passenger insights and manage expectations to propel brand growth. So, today you're going to be sharing just a few of your insights on the topic and giving a taste of what our audience can expect if they
Mhm.
come. So, firstly, in the modern world, why would you say branding is arguably more important than ever?
Well, I think if we talk about branding in general, but even more so in aviation, there's a very clear distinction I think today in everybody's mind between a full service carrier and a low cost carrier. So I think that has been established between the airlines, and people know what kind of experience they would expect from flying with brand A or brand B. I think what's becoming more and more important in this world is differentiation, because we've seen that access to technology, access to hardware, be it the aircraft, the seats, the airport environment, etc., is becoming kind of widely available, I would say, to everyone. We have to differentiate ourselves versus others, and I think the world is becoming with aviation and with tourism promotion all over the world. I think the world is becoming smaller and smaller for the world travelers. We're seeing a lot of let's say passengers from the far east going to the far west, and vice versa. And this is a new world where in the past, where people had very few choices of which airline to fly because they were mainly flying point to point. Today, in the world of hubs and transits, and going further and trying to seek the best value, people look for experiences. And when they look for experiences, and when they look for connectivity between very far points between different countries in the world, brand differentiation becomes even more so important. So I think that is something that we all need to keep in mind. The competition today is not only the airlines that compete with me on the point-to-point connectivity. I'm actually competing with everyone, and I'm competing at different levels. Full-service carriers, low-cost carriers, ultra-low-cost carriers, etc.
That's a really interesting point you made, and especially on differentiation, creating differentiation rather through experiences now that other airlines can sort of offer similar things. So
Absolutely.
perhaps bearing this in mind, when we think about strategies for prioritizing and building a strong brand growth, how does this play in, and how can they translate into tangible benefits for an airline?
Oh, I think the concept of benefits is something that is probably at the heart of marketing and brand management. How do you choose what benefit you want your brand to be associated with? One of the things I've learned very early in my career working in FMCG, so consumer goods, rather than airlines, but it was this differentiation between what you call points of parity and points of difference. Today, a traveler on an airline requires certain benefits that are that are expected from any airline. So I expect the aircraft to leave on time. I expect the aircraft to be clean and everything functioning. I expect the cabin crew to behave in a certain way in terms of service. Those are becoming points of parity. The points of differentiation is where airlines need to kind of spend more time thinking about and analyzing their customer segments in a way that would yield kind of definition of benefits that are more relevant to that kind of customer segment. So, for example, Saudia as an airline is an airline that carries the name of a country. So we're a flag carrier, we're a national carrier, whether for our own kind of national customer segment, or for the international customers who are coming and choosing Saudia, their expectation is that they would have a Saudi experience. So what does Saudi mean to the local or to the international traveler? Maybe things like hospitality, maybe things like generosity, maybe things like welcoming, and hence our point of differentiation, we believe, is that we would like to be associated with benefits that are more relevant to our target audience. A very important aspect in this subject as well is you need to offer benefits that are related to different segments within your travelers. It is very interesting for me every month when I review our net promoter scores of how customers traveling on the same flight. So let's say we have a flight from Jeddah to London and there are 300 passengers on board. I like to always look into the breakdown of the net promoter score. The satisfaction of the 300 people is vastly different. It's the same flight. Maybe it took off on time, the same food was served, the same entertainment content was there, the same cabin crew, but you find, for example, older people having a different satisfaction level than younger people. You find females having a different satisfaction than males. You have certain nationalities having a different satisfaction level. That is very interesting. That means that your brand cannot be a one-size-fits-all. We are coming into a world where segmentation is becoming more and more tailored and narrowed, and you need to be more specific. We want to achieve what they call the segment of one, where every single individual is a segment on his or her own. So I think that's something very, very interesting, and an insight that I'd like to kind of think about more, and maybe during the conference also kind of discuss it more with the industry.
Absolutely, and I can see what a significant challenge that poses as an airline. So if you're getting this sort of huge span of opinions based on the same product, then I guess it comes in with the sort of hyper personalization and how people are forming their expectations based on other sectors, where you really do feel like that very personal connection with the brand.
Mhm.
So touching more on what you're going to be talking about specifically at the event, when it comes to harnessing passenger insights, what are the major challenges here, and how do you proactively address these?
I think it's very important to look at improving the way we capture the voice of the customer, and I think that has been one of the biggest challenges for businesses overall, but even more so for the airline industry. We are working in an industry that has hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of customers on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Some of them travel frequently. Some of them make the trip of their life with us. So how do you manage the scale of getting and harnessing and first of all capturing customer feedback, and then really analyzing it? The way I would simplify it is that I think every marketing organization and every customer experience organization within airlines needs to think about three distinct levels of measuring and getting customer feedback. Overall relationship feedback is very important, and that's something that I think everyone does. Everyone does a satisfaction survey at the end of the trip, and whether it's through electronic surveys, focus groups, etc., to talk about how do you feel about our brand and about our service and our product. So that remains something very important. But I think two areas that are probably where we need to do more are what we call transactional satisfaction and feedback. So how do I measure and capture the customer feedback on specific touch points? Flying is in general it is a very long lead time or long journey. So imagine I'm planning my New Year vacation, which I think a lot of people are doing right now. Where summer is over, I'm thinking about, okay, in 5 months, what's going to be my next vacation. So I'm going to be booking a flight, let's say in August or September. I'm only going to fly it in December. Okay, by the time I fly in December, I might have forgotten some of the feedback and how I felt and how I thought about the experience of my booking. So it's very important also for the airline to capture the feedback at the different transactional touch points that the customers are going through. So relationship input and feedback is very important, but also transactional is very important. And the third that I would add, and this has been something of immense help and significant value to us over the past couple of years, is that we also added what we call the sentiment analysis and captured that as part of our voice of customer program. So there's a saying that perception leads to reality, and expectations actually kind of impact how you ultimately judge an experience positively or negatively. So we've added what we call the sentiment analysis to our voice of customer program. So it's so today we kind of reach to a level where we are able to understand how people perceive our brand, and hence that kind of helps us understand the level of expectations that they have, even before they fly or after they've flown, and before they fly again with us. So perception, transaction, and relationship, I think those three components together can help us overcome a lot of the challenges in how do we capture insights and harness them towards improving our product and service.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. And perhaps we could encapsulate that in sort of differentiation, experience, and segmentation. And there'll be lots more to hear about that at World Aviation Festival. Before I let you go, can I ask why you chose to join World Aviation Festival? And aside from your sessions, are there any people or other sessions that you're particularly looking forward to?
Oh, I think so. The World Aviation Festival is an opportunity for us to get together and really kind of get a sense of what is going on in the industry. Let's remember, it's almost kind of a sector that has been reborn after COVID. Aviation, as you know, has been one of the hardest hit in the pandemic. It's when people talk about the new normal in the world, it's even more so true and relevant for aviation, because we came out of the pandemic with a I think a resetting of all expectations and an opportunity for further competition and for brands to rise or fall, even more so than before. But I think three areas where I would be very interested to discuss with the wider community at the World Aviation Festival. One is probably the buzzword in the aviation industry right now, which is digital transformation. How are we going to turn the customer experience and the operations and the marketing and sales process into something that is more digitally native? How do we harness the power of AI and generative AI to help us deliver a better experience and deliver more efficiencies for ourselves? So digital transformation is something that I'm looking forward to discuss with my colleagues at the festival. Loyalty is becoming, I think, a gold mine that probably full service carriers and specifically large airlines are tapping into right now, and seeing how high is up really with loyalty programs, and that's something very interesting for me. Last but not least, the integration of aviation within the overall travel, leisure, business, and tourism kind of ecosystem. We're living a transformative time for tourism worldwide. But even more so for me as a Saudi, our country is opening up, and we're looking for how do we really make sure that the airline is one of the biggest enablers of tourism for the country. So the integration and the let's say cross collaboration between aviation and DMCs and tourism boards and sports events, etc., is something very interesting for me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and I look forward to hearing more on site in October.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.